Colin Cowherd, huh? Predicting the Colts to upset the Lions. Most think it's crazy, but I'm interested to hear your take.
Well, on the surface, it does seem like a stretch. I mean, the Lions, they're sitting at 9-1.
9-1.
Yeah, top 5 on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, averaging over 33 points a game, multiple 40-point games already this season.
Okay, so what's Cowherd seeing then? What's making him think the Colts could pull this off?
He's really honed in on Anthony Richardson, Colts quarterback.
Richardson, okay.
And Richardson, he's actually won 4 of his last 5 starts.
I'll admit I haven't followed him that closely this season. What's driving that recent success?
I think his Jets game was kind of a turning point. Played well overall, but he also had his first fourth-quarter comeback.
Interesting. So it sounds like he's finally hitting his stride. What were those early struggles earlier this season?
Yeah, he definitely had some trouble adjusting to the NFL. Actually was benched for a while.
Oh, wow. That's got to be tough.
Yeah.
How did he bounce back from that?
You know, it's funny. It seems like the benching might have actually helped him. Gave him a chance to step back, observe, work on his game a little bit. And when he came back in, he was just a much more composed player, more mature.
Okay, so what are we seeing from him now that he's back as a starter?
I think we're seeing that talent that made him such a highly touted prospect coming into the league. You remember that 69-yard touchdown pass he threw back in week 1?
Right.
That big playability, I think that's what we're starting to see come through now.
And I imagine he's got support from his teammates as well.
Oh, absolutely. Even Joe Flacco, the guy he replaced, has come out and said publicly, he's confident in Richardson's abilities.
Wow. Okay, so he's got the talent. Sounds like he's got the right mindset.
Yeah.
But can he really lead this team to knock off a powerhouse like the Lions?
That's the question. Right. We haven't seen him face a team of this caliber yet.
So we're looking at, I guess, the classic underdog story then.
I guess you could say that, yeah. Can Anthony Richardson rise to the occasion, find that next level against a really tough opponent? I mean, that's really what this whole prediction hinges on.
And if the Colts do pull this off, what does it mean for their season? What are the implications?
It could put them right back in the midst for a wild card spot in the AFC. Huge boost for their playoff chances, for sure.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics of this matchup. How do the Colts and Lions stack up statistically?
Well, the Lions definitely have the statistical advantage, across the board, really. Top 5 in both offense and defense, as we've said.
But are there any areas where the Colts might be able to exploit a weakness, find an edge?
Well, that's where things get interesting. Because the Lions, despite all their dominance, they have shown a bit of a weakness against mobile quarterbacks.
And Richardson certainly fits that bill.
He does. If he can use his legs, keep plays alive, make some things happen outside the pocket, he could give the Lions defense some problems.
So we're talking about a potential stylistic mismatch then.
You could say that. The Lions, their defense is really built to contain those traditional pocket passers. Richardson's mobility, that could throw a real wrench in their game plan.
All right, so what about the Colts defense then? Can they hold up against this Lions high-powered offense?
That's the other side of the coin, right? And, the Colts defense has actually been pretty solid this year. But they haven't faced an offensive attack quite like Detroit's.
So what should we be watching for then in this game? What are some key things to keep an eye on?
Well, from a Colts perspective, it's really all about, can Richardson take advantage of that Lions' weakness against mobile quarterbacks? If he can make plays with his legs, it opens up a lot of things for their offense. And the Lions have a really good offensive line, so getting to Goff, that's going to be a challenge.
For sure. So what about their secondary, the Colts? Can they handle the Lions' receivers?
That's going to be a key matchup for sure. The Colts secondary, they've been a little up and down this year. They'll need to be on top of their game to slow down this Lions passing attack.
Okay, so what do you think strategically on defense? What might the Colts try to do?
I wouldn't be surprised to see him mix things up a bit, maybe disguise coverages, bring some different blitzes, try to keep Goff off balance.
Interesting. And flipping over to the Colts offense, how do you think they attack this Lions defense?
I think they'll probably try to get the run game going early, take some pressure off Richardson. If they can get Jonathan Taylor rolling a little bit, that could open up some play action opportunities.
Makes sense. So let's talk more about Richardson. What is it specifically that makes him such a threat to this Lions D?
I think it's that ability to extend plays. He's so elusive in the pocket, and he can make really accurate throws on the run. That makes him really tough to contain.
So we're not just talking about his running ability, but the ability to kind of, create chaos, make plays when things break down.
Exactly. He can turn a nothing play into a big game. That unpredictability, it's what makes him so dangerous.
Are there any parallels you see between Richardson and some other, young quarterbacks who have pulled off these upsets against top teams?
Yeah, I think there are some similarities. He's got that same fearlessness you see from those guys, that playmaking ability that just kind of exceeds expectations.
So it's not just the talent, but it's almost like that intangible, that confidence to make plays when the game's on the line.
Absolutely, and Richardson seems to really thrive in those moments.
What are some of the biggest challenges he'll face, though, against this Lions team?
I think he has to be really disciplined with his decision-making. The Lions, their defense is really good at creating turnovers. They'll make you pay for any mistakes.
So avoiding those turnovers is going to be huge.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Can't give this Lions offense any extra possessions.
So what else are you going to be watching for specifically from Richardson in this game?
Well, I'm really interested to see how he handles the Lions' pass rush. They've got a really talented front four. They're going to be bringing a lot of pressure.
If he can, stand in there, deliver those throws under pressure, that would be a big statement.
It would. It would show that he's got the poise, the toughness to be a successful quarterback in this league.
So let's say he has a great game and the Colts pull off this upset. What would that mean for his future in the NFL? How do you see that playing out?
I think it would be a huge step in his development. Establish him as a real threat, a quarterback to watch out for a long time.
Yeah, it could be a real turning point in his career.
It could be. And I think it would make Colin Cowherd look pretty smart, too.
But even if they don't get the win, this is still such a great test for him, for Richardson.
Oh, it is, no question. It's an opportunity to see where he stacks up against one of the best teams in the league, and you can't put a price tag on that experience.
So what are the Colts as a team then? What are the implications here for their season, win or lose?
I think this game will tell us a lot about where they are as a franchise. If they can go toe-to-toe with the Lions, show they can compete, it shows they're on the right track. They're a team to be reckoned with.
And what if they get blown out?
It might be a sign that there's still a piece or two away, maybe a year or two from being true contenders.
Right. So ultimately, this game, for the Colts at least, it's about more than just a win or loss, right? It's about proving that they can play with the best, that Anthony Richardson is the real deal.
Yeah, it's their chance to make a statement, announce themselves as a team to watch out for in the AFC.
Well, we'll certainly be watching to see how it all plays out. Any final thoughts on this matchup?
I think it has all the makings of a really exciting game, one that I think will tell us a lot about both these teams.
So it sounds like this game really could have major implications, not just for Richardson and the Colts, but for the whole AFC playoff picture.
No doubt. It could really shake things up. A Colts win, you throw that into the mix, and suddenly the wild card race gets a lot more interesting.
Do you think maybe the Colts are being a little underestimated going into this game?
I can see why. You look at their record, you see how dominant the Lions have been. It's easy to overlook them. But I think this Colts team, they're a lot more dangerous than people realize.
So what are the big things, the deciding factors that could determine the outcome of this game?
Turnovers got to be turnovers. If Richardson can protect the ball, not give the Lions those extra possessions, that gives the Colts a fighting chance.
And on the flip side, can the Colts force him into some mistakes?
That's the question, right? Goff has been playing really well, very efficient this year. They're going to have to disrupt him somehow, get him out of his rhythm, make him uncomfortable.
And of course, we can't forget about the coaching matchup. How do you see Reich and Campbell stacking up? In terms of their game plans, their adjustments?
Well, they're both known for being pretty aggressive, that's for sure. I think we could see some interesting play calling, some trickery from both sides.
So potentially a high-scoring back-and-forth kind of game then.
I could definitely see that happening. The Lions have the weapons to score on anyone, but the Colts, with Richardson, they've shown they can put up points too.
So it might all come down to which quarterback makes fewer mistakes, right? And who makes the plays when it matters most.
I think you hit the nail on the head. These big games, it often comes down to that. Who can stay cool under pressure and make those clutch plays down the stretch?
Well, it's shaping up to be a really intriguing matchup. A lot at stake for both teams.
Should be a good one. Can't wait to see how it plays out.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.